I'm Eve Harms, aka That Clown Goddess, and I am the creator of StimuWrite, and I'm here to show you how to make your own StimuWrite theme. So this is the Godot homepage. Godot is a game engine that powers StimuWrite. To get version 3, you have to just click the link here. And it'll be whatever your operating system is, and then you download it. So you can just search for StimuWrite, template, theme, GitHub. And my GitHub is this, it's Beastly Eve. I'll put a link in the description for all this. Here's the StimuWrite theme template. And so you want to download this. You can just go to code and download zip. And that's a Godot project that you can use to start building your theme. Unzip it. Rename it. You can put multiple themes in one template file, so it's good just to make it something general. I put my StimuWrite themes, and then you put it wherever you're going to keep your Godot projects. Then you find your project here. You might have to scan. Even though you did rename it, it's still going to have the old name. And you open the project. And this is what you start with. A good thing to do right away is go to project settings and change the name. That way so it won't get confusing with the other projects if you end up making multiple themes with multiple theme templates. So the easiest way to get started is to use the Theming Tools wizard, which is already built in. It's an add-on that's included with the template. And it's very easy. You just put your theme name here. Put your theme author. If you want to include a version, that's fine. You have the option of starting with either a light or a dark theme. So this mostly affects the font colors and then the backgrounds. So it's definitely good to consider if you're going to be using a light font on a dark background or a dark font on a light background. So I'm going to start with light. Then you include whether you want a custom emoji or if you want to include a custom background. And I'll click background and I'll click both. Let's just call it demo theme because we're not going to really do it's just going to be to demonstrate. Boom, so you see your new theme has been created and you can zoom in on it. And you can put the theming tools, drag it in here into this panel so that it's not taking up so much space. Your scenes are here. The scenes are going to have the different elements of the theme that you'll edit. So we have the panel container, the window, the alert window, text edit. And then here is the file system. So your theme lives here. It comes with a blank theme already, which is identical to the light theme, but you can just ignore that or you can edit it. I think it's actually easier to use the wizard. This is the preview of the theme, right? And that you can access that through this little 2D. And then if you want to go into the script, which is the configuration, you can go into the scripts panel here. Here you can change the theme name. Let's just start with the main panel. So that's the panel container override. The system in general is a little funky. It wasn't really made for other people, and I was learning while I made it, so there's some quirks to it that you'll see. Pretty much everything you're going to do for every single element here is going to take place in the inspector, but specifically in theme overrides. And then also sometimes it takes place in theme. So if you go here and you don't see that the theme, any of these theme overrides are checked and active, check the theme for the element. But as you can see, here it has styles, and styles will show you each aspect of each node. So you can see the panel here. You can click, and right now what is inside of it is a style box. Let's clear this. So now it's just like empty. So you click in and it gives you a few options. There's empty, style box flat, style box line, and style box texture. So you'll use style box texture if you want to put an image in, gradients also, and you use style box flat if you want to use their kind of panel creator, which you'll see. Here you can see we can choose the color. Let's pick a nice purple, lavender. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Have the options of creating a border. So you can see here we can add a darker lavender border and define our values here. I'm gonna actually quickly clear out the back panel because it actually looks really ugly by default. Okay, so that's gone. We'll get back to that. So yeah, you can see it has this nice border, and you can have the border blend, so it has a kind of gradient going in. Corner radius options. You're gonna end up just having to like play around with it. I don't necessarily want to get too in depth because I just want to give you all the information for you to get started and start tinkering. Expand margin will make it so it'll expand past the edges of the element, and this is really useful especially when you're doing something textured. Shadow is just what it sounds like. And then there's content margin. You're gonna find that like you can't do certain things with certain panels, and really the only way to figure that out is to test it. So we'll get to testing towards the end. I'll give a quick demo of the other type of style box. So for texture, if we want to make a gradient, we click into the texture and we have the option of the texture in the normal map. And here we can do gradient texture 2D. And then a new gradient. And yeah, we can kind of do it that way. You know, different options that you might expect from gradients. That's the back panel. And you're going to be using the style boxes for lots of things. Style boxes are also used for the background of the text edit, the background of the windows, the buttons, the different button states. Style boxes are kind of the basis of theming in Godot. So have fun with it. So let's work on a button. If you can just click into the elements from the preview, you'll see it selected here. So there's just the simple button override. And so we'll scroll down, look at the theme overrides. This has a few more options because it has font colors. Currently custom fonts are not supported. So let's make a quick button that matches our, kind of like blend in as a part of the same piece as our panel, and you can see that you have the option to use a color picker. Turn blend on, make the border with 12. Okay, that's way too big. Actually, I kind of like that, but let's do it. That's a little big. And you can do things like if you put a little extra on the bottom, that makes it look like it's kind of lifted up. And then when you press, you can have it kind of go down, give a sense of like a physical button. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's just make it a little longer. Okay, So we have the beginning of our button state, but we also need to work on these other aspects, what it looks like when it's disabled, what the button looks like when it's pressed, and what it looks like when it's hovered over. So what you're going to want to do is likely going to want to copy your work and then modify it to match the state instead of just recreating it. So you can right click on here and say copy. And then, for example, hover, you can say paste. But not so fast, because what you've done is made what I've told you to do has made a style box that is shared between these two. So when you copy and paste the style box, it's like the style box is like, it doesn't duplicate it, it references it in two places. So what you want to do is go here and say make unique. And I encourage you to internalize always right-clicking make unique, because it is really annoying when you're editing your hover and then your original button gets messed up. Just going to make it a little bit lighter, and we'll see what that looks like later. Disabled, you can actually see what it looks like if you like by clicking here, changing the base button status to disabled. So I'll paste this in, and then I will change the color to gray. I don't know. But what did she do wrong? Well, I forgot to make it unique. So you can see there's also like the normal one is changed too. So I'm going to undo that. I don't know, Godot's undo is not great. So what I'm going to do is make it unique, and we'll make this a gray color to make it clear it's disabled, and make this gray as well. So since I made it unique, it's its own thing. I'll copy this again and paste it into pressed. If we want to look at it, what it looks like pressed, we can turn on toggle mode here and say pressed. Make unique, just in case I forgot. Let us mess with the border. So we'll lower the border down to be 8, and so that'll give it a sense of kind of push down. And maybe we'll make this a little bit lighter. I don't know. That might be weird, but let's try it. Okay, so that's a button. We just finished a button and a panel. How cool is that? Let's do the drop down. And for the drop down button, they call it an option button in Godot. But for the option button, we're going to do images just to do something else. So where you're going to keep your images is here in assets. And you can see there's already some of the assets that are being used in the template. And so you can edit these, open them in your image editor to get a sense of the size and stuff. And then also this is where you'll put your background, and there's a folder for custom emojis. If we want to make a option button, we can open this in our file manager, so we have access to the files. There's no image here yet already, so we'll have to make our own. Then we'll export it as a PNG, and option button default, I guess. And I will move it into the folder. Godot will automatically import it. If you're using pixel art, you have to kind of adjust the import settings. but for anything else, the default importing is good. So we're in the option button. We'll go into theme overrides. You can change this icon as well if you want to change something here. And we're going to change the normal from a flat to a texture. And then we can just drag this in to texture. And boom. I don't know. It looks a little ugly. We'll just replace the image. And I don't know. I guess that looks a little better. I'm not going to obsess over it. Let's not be a perfectionist. Let's get it done. What you can do is you can go into modulate. You can do this with any of the elements right here. And you can kind of tint it in editor or even change the opacity. There's not as many options with the texture as there are with the flat. So you've got expand margin, just kind of makes it bigger. And then you've got a margin which will affect where the text is. You can also do it here. There's like a texture region editor. Okay, so we have this. Let's copy it and paste into the hover state and make that unique. There's no disabled because there's never a disabled option button. So hopefully there never will be because none of the themes have it. For hover, I'm going to modulate it, fill it in, make it more red. And for pressed, we'll call this one option button pressed. Okay, copy the original, paste it to get those sweet settings, and then we can just change it to the pressed.